Okay, so we are almost finished this chapter. I think we'll finish it tomorrow. And I realized that we never talked about specific um, outside laws about medication. We talked about taking it, but the next two halachot are talking about how to avoid things that need to be avoided, but also if it's a serious situation, we already said that we break every law, even biblical, to save a life. So my niece, about a year ago, um, was able to reach into my sister's pills um, and she took too many and she went to the hospital and Baruch Hashem, they were able to save her. But after that, I sent her some bottles of medicine that we have here in Canada that is childproof. So this amazing um, website explains all about packaging, and maybe I'll send a link to it because it's just very, very well written as a presentation. And so, why is packaging in the pharmaceutical industry important? First of all, it maintains product integrity, facilitating communication, which means that this way I know in my language, whether it's English, French, Spanish, etc., what I'm supposed to take and how many and with what, with food, without food, etc. Protection from children, which I think is the most important. But some of the medicines I find today are too hard for me to open, but children are able to. Compliance with regulatory standards. So she talks about the FDA, of course, in America and other organizations around the world. Protection against external elements, because some medicine has to be in a cool and dry place, etc. And last, enhancing patient convenience and adherence, because we don't want to protect it too much from the patient because that will take time to open it. In addition, I found a picture of the many different kinds of packaging that we have, and Rabbi Melamed specifically will be talking about this kind of bottle where when you open it the first time, you break the seal. And there was a question way back when about cans, drinking like soft drink cans and bottles that a lot of Jewish people, a lot of Orthodox people open them before Shabbat because they believe that that's making a utensil out of the bottle. But Rav Melamed has a different opinion about that, specifically about medicine. And last but not least, the most practical is to have this kind of organizer with a 3 or 4 slots and prepare everything in advance. So I used to do the medicine for us in this kind of organizer, and Sunday morning would be my day where I would do all the preparing and cutting and everything, because sometimes you have to take half a pill, and we'll talk about that, about measuring on Shabbat. And so, with that great introduction, let's talk about opening medicine packages on Shabbat. We talked yesterday about bandages, etc. So now just a different perspective. When it is permissible to take medicine, but it is packaged in plastic, paper, or cardboard, one may tear open the packaging in order to get to the medicine. This is even for somebody who is only mildly ill, because it's like peeling an orange. You can't eat the orange with the peel, and so we are cutting the peel and throwing it out and not reusing it. If you remember way back when we talked about food preparation, we said that if you're going to make the sugar peels, then you're not allowed to keep those from Shabbat because that's preparing for a melacha which is forbidden on Shabbat. So those who are stringent make sure to destroy the packaging, rendering it unusable for storing the medicine. But again, that's not very recommended because we need that communication part about knowing what it is. We can't rely on the fact that, oh, I know what that pink pill is, or blue and white, or whatever. We have to be able to know exactly what we are taking and how much to take. It is preferable to avoid tearing words on the packaging, but the avad, if it cannot be opened without tearing words, it may still be opened because one's intention is not to erase the letters, and the erasing in quotation marks happens through a destructive action. if you remember, one of the rules that we learned was that kol hamekil kelim pturim, that all the people who destroy are patur, and so mechika, the erasing that is forbidden, was because when they had the boards of the Mishkan, they had to put each one in the exact same position that it was before taking it down. And so sometimes if somebody, and they would mark them with two letters, I'm guessing like it's in the United States, the postal code is 5 digits or six in the larger areas. But in Canada, it's a mixture of letters and numbers. So even though those don't make any sense to anybody, erasing two letters is a biblical transgression, because we are erasing in order to rewrite or write again on the same spot for that. And last one, when one may take pills that are inside a sealed plastic container, like we said about the opening the cap, they may remove the cover, even though doing so breaks the temporary plastic seal connecting the cover to the container. This is not considered making a kli, because the container and cover were already finished products. They were simply attached to the plastic seal. So, if I remember correctly, we are not allowed to eat directly out of a tuna can on Shabbat if we just opened it on Shabbat, because that is now our kli, and so we actually prepared this utensil for use. And the same thing with those who do allow to open soft drink cans on Shabbat and bottles, we pour it into a glass and we don't drink directly from the can. And so one more halacha about the measuring. When medically necessary, one may use a regular mercury thermometer to take someone's temperature. One may also use a manual blood pressure monitor. Although without a significant need, one may not measure things on Shabbat, as this is a weekday activity. It is nevertheless permitted for a mitzvah or medical need, tzorach gadol. It is also permitted to shake down a thermometer so that the mercury contracts. So an electric blood pressure machine and an electric thermometer are forbidden on Shabbat for somebody who's only mildly sick or in pain. But of course, cholesh sheyesh bo sakana, we don't start looking for a mercury thermometer. We take the temperature even with an electrical one, and so too with blood pressure. Some rule leniently and permit a sick person to use a thermometer strip, which displays body temperature upon being placed on one's forehead. I think the last time I saw that was 1982, and I'm not exaggerating. I haven't seen those in a very, very long time. They maintain that this is not considered kotev, since the numbers are already imprinted on the strip, and the temperature merely makes them visible for a short time, after which they disappear. So it's not what's called ktav or ktiva, writing on Shabbat, because it's like invisible ink. Others maintain that using this type of thermometer is rabbinically prohibited, considering its temporary writing. Since it is a rabbinic law, one may be lenient in a case of necessity. So again, not somebody who's just mildly not feeling well, but somebody who's sick, but they don't have to be in life danger. The poskim disagree about whether or one may perform a medical test on Shabbat that causes color to appear. Some prohibit this on account of tzoveh, others permit it, as one is not interested in the color, only in the test results. L'chatchila, one should be stringent, but when necessary, they may be lenient, since this is a case of uncertainty regarding rabbinic law. And so, if I could sum it up, if you are in an ambulance or in a hospital room, then that's already a situation where you're in certain danger, not the danger of dying immediately, chas v'chalila, but just the idea of that. And so these tests should be administered as usual. And we'll stop here, and tomorrow, Bezat Hashem, we'll finish this chapter.